Hey guys, welcome to Visual Art. So this video is for 7th and 8th grade visual arts students. We are going to review the elements of art that we studied in 6th grade. If you are new to the class, don't worry, this is going to help you catch up with the terminology that we'll be using. With this video, please feel free to pause it, rewind anytime you need to in case I'm going too quick. You're going to need a sheet of white paper. Notebook paper is fine, but we do have some drawings that will be going with it, and you need a pencil. I would like you to take the notes along with me. It's going to help you remember it, plus you have drawings that go with it as well. So we're going to study, well actually review, our elements of art. The first one is going to be line. And you might remember that a line is a continuous mark made on a surface by a moving tool. Your pencil is a tool, and as you are writing on it, you are creating lines. And if you look, we can see evidence that we have a vertical line here, a diagonal line here, a curved line here, and that will help us out with our 5 kinds of line. Think back. We know that the first one is a vertical. A vertical line is a straight line that goes up and down. So we have a vertical line. Our second one is a horizontal line. And a horizontal line will go straight across or side to side. Okay, these two lines, a lot of people do get them mixed up. So with the horizontal line, think of the horizon where the earth meets the sky. It creates that line going straight across. They're static lines, which means they don't move. So they're kind of boring. A vertical line going straight up and down, if I look at a stop sign or a light post, they're not supposed to move. So it's kind of boring. If something's laying flat on the ground, it's not moving, it is boring. A third line would be our diagonal line. A diagonal line is also a straight line. It's a straight line that slants. So it is a little different because now it looks like this line is going to fall over. We have action and excitement. Our fourth line is curved. These are lines that bend. These lines are calming, flowing, relaxing. So think of it like if you're twisting a piece of hair and you just kind of twirl it in your finger, how it calms you down. So they are very relaxing. Our fifth line is the opposite. It is a zigzag line. And this is joining diagonals. We already know from here that diagonal lines look like they're going to fall over. There's action and excitement. Except now we have some confusion. If you've ever played that game pinball and you pull back the lever, ding, 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 if you're not paying attention to the ball, okay, it gets confusing and you don't know when to hit those paddles when you're supposed to. So zigzag lines are confusing. So here we have the element of art, line. And again, please pause or rewind anytime you need to. Our next element is going to be shape. Shape is an enclosed area determined by line, color, value, and or texture. Now, when we're looking at shapes, we commonly call them two-dimensional, which you guys call 2D, okay? It is measured by, oops, let me fix my leg real quick. It is measured by length and width. So if something's 2D, it's only measured by length and width, it is flat, flat like a pancake, okay? It's not a ball, it's flat like a pancake. There are two kinds of shapes that we need to know. You might remember, the first one is called a geometric shape. Geometric shapes are measured by a ruler or a compass. Now this compass is the kind that we use to draw circles. So for example, we have squares, triangles, circles. The next shape is what we call freeform shape. Freeform shapes are organic, they're natural. So if I had like this little blob right there, if I was to draw a heart, if I pick up a leaf outside, they're very flat, natural shapes. So shape does have a buddy. I'm going to a new sheet, but please continue working on your same one if you have room. So our next buddy to shape is actually going to be form. Form is three-dimensional and it encloses volume. Volume is something you should have studied in math class, science class. If something is three-dimensional, we do commonly say 3D. We know that it is measured by length, width, and depth. We commonly call this sculpture in the round. That pencil you're holding, that you're looking at, this is sculpture in the round, okay? Now, with shape, we had two different kinds. The first one was a geometric shape, and we have, for an example, a square. What does a square become when it's 3D? Well, it's going to become a cube. So if I can have a geometric shape, that means I can have a geometric form. So for example, we could have a cube. We could have a sphere, which is a ball. We could have a pyramid. Okay, you can have cylinders. So we have geometric form. Shape also had a free form shape, which is an organic shape. That means form has a free form, and they really do say that. Okay, so again, these are natural, organic. So think of plants, animals, and people. We are natural, organic forms. So that's the definitions, and I want to get you guys ready for basic form drawing. If you're new to the class, and I didn't have you last year, we're going to break this down step by step. It really does help if you draw every step on your paper. So right over here, I'm going to have shape. Here I have form, and I have all this space right here. And again, please pause, rewind anytime that you need to. This is going to be basic form drawing. So our first shape that we want to look at is going to be a square. We know that a square can become a cube. So I'm going to show you an easy way to do this. Step 1, we have our square. Step 2, I'm going to come to this bottom right corner and I want to draw a diagonal line. Notice the direction of that slant. Step 3. We already have this bottom diagonal, so I'm going to come to the top right with a diagonal line. Both of these diagonals are going in the same direction. Step 4. I have a diagonal here, a diagonal here. Now I'm going to come to this top left corner with a diagonal line. Step 5. I have a diagonal here, here, here. This is a horizontal line. This needs to be a horizontal line. Don't slant it. It needs to be horizontal. Step 6. I have a diagonal line here, a diagonal here, diagonal, horizontal. This is a vertical line. I need a vertical line here. So go ahead and draw your square again. Let's make it into a cube going to the right. And let's draw a cube going to the left. I'm right-handed, so I always have to change my hand over here. Okay, so we have a cube here. It's common when you're first learning, okay, that you want to do something like this. Okay, these are ice cubes. We don't want that, okay? If you are drawing like this, and let's say it was for an actual drawing, you're going to have to come in and you're going to have to erase these areas that are overlapping. That's not what we want. If you follow these steps, it makes it easier so that you're not doing any erasing, you're not ruining your paper. Take a look at your cube. Some common things that I see is something like this, okay? If you have something that's like this, take a look. This is going horizontal and we want to go diagonal. This is going vertical and we want to go diagonal. Some other common ones that I see is that somebody will have this way and this coming up. And let's look at our length. This should match this to the same size. So if I line this up, that fixes that. If I take this way, it fixes that. It's very common when you're first learning. So if we look, follow our steps. All 3 of those diagonal lines here are the same direction, the same length. If this is horizontal, this is horizontal. If this is vertical, this is vertical. Okay, so that's the cube. Let's look at the triangle. Triangle can become a lot of different things. Let's start out with a 4-sided pyramid first. Okay, step 1. Let's have our triangle. Step 2. Come to this bottom right corner with a diagonal line. Step 3. You're going to connect. Believe it or not, this is a 4-sided pyramid, because if we were to look at the base, we want our base to have 4 sides. So if my pyramid was made out of glass, I would see that the base has 4 sides. Okay, so this one was actually easier than the cube. So we have our 4-sided pyramid. And again, pause, rewind anytime you need to. Let's look at a 3-sided. I'm going to begin with an A without a line or an upside down V. This is step 1. For step 2, I want to bring a vertical line down. Notice that vertical line came past this point and past this point here. Okay, so it kind of looks like an arrowhead. On step 3, this is going to be a diagonal line. Do not take it horizontal. It'll look like a triangle. You want to slant this so that you have a diagonal line. Step 4, we have a diagonal line here. Kind of looks like a paper airplane. If we take our base, we know it's a triangle, and if this was made out of glass, we would see that the base has 1, 2, 3 sides. Okay? Now the triangle can also become a triangular prism. So let's go ahead and look at that. So for my first step, I have a triangle. Here's my step 1. Step 2, I want to come to the bottom right corner and I'm going to have a diagonal line. This time I'm going to make it just a little longer. Step 3, I want to come here to the top with a diagonal line. Both of these diagonals are the same. We want them to have the same slant, the same length. Step 4, we want to connect with the diagonal. So this diagonal and this diagonal are the same. And once you can draw it like that, going to the right, you can draw it going to the left. We can change our triangle. So if I want to have a triangle that's a little more obtuse, stretch this out a bit with the angle. I can make a wedge or a ramp. Okay, so we have options there with that. The triangle can still become something else. I like to eat ice cream out of a cone. Okay, so we're going to draw the cone in 2 different ways. We're going to have it where it's sitting up and one that you can actually hold to put an ice cream in. So let's look at these 2 ways. For step 1, I have an A without a line or an upside down V. A cone is round. Since it's round, we are going to end up using a curved line. So for step 2, we're going to put a curved line. And that's all we need to do there. So if you're thinking about this like it's made out of glass and we could actually see inside of it, we would see that roundness right here. Okay? But we want to learn how to also draw it going in the other direction so that maybe I do want to put ice cream in it. So we're going to begin step 1 with a slight curve. Think of it like a smile. Going to take that smile. Let's put a curve on top. So I have a smile with a frown on top. So here is my smile. Here's my frown. And oops, this is number 3. And I want to bring a diagonal line. Smile, frown, and here's my other diagonal line. Now once you can draw the cone like this, you can draw it laying on its side. If I did want to put ice cream in it, I have a little more of a dramatic curve here, slight curve here. Create my cone. I like waffle cones. Maybe I have mint chocolate chip ice cream. You could even, if you wanted to, do a double scoop. It's always a little too much for me to eat, but I want it. So I can have a double scoop here. Have your cone. Maybe put a cherry on top. Okay, but you can create an ice cream cone. So we've talked about the square and we've talked about the triangle. So let's go ahead and look at a rectangle. So if I have the shape of a rectangle, we already know that it can become a rectangular prism. So it can become a box. We already know from our 6 steps of our cube the direction it's going to go. So diagonal lines here. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Step 1, we have a rectangle. Step 2, we're going to come to the bottom right with a diagonal line. Step 3, diagonal line at the top. Step 4, diagonal line at the top left. Step 5, this is horizontal, this is horizontal. Step 6, this is vertical, and then this is vertical. Once you can draw this right here, you can draw your rectangular prism going to the left. You could make your box laying flat. So we have options there to play with that rectangle, okay? The rectangle, believe it or not, can also become a cylinder. I know it's hard to think about it that way, but if you think of a Coke can and it's been crushed down horizontally, not vertically, it has a bit of that rectangular shape to it. So to create the cylinder, let's start with our slight curve like a smile. Put a curve on top like a frown. Bring down a vertical line. Bring down another vertical line. This next step, sometimes we see mistakes. If this is curved here, then that means this should be curved here. If you go horizontal here, it is going to look like an upside down Capri Sun, and we don't really want that. So keep an eye on this, okay? Make sure that you are curving that line. This cylinder right here is solid, it's opaque, so we can't see through it. If it was glass, okay, let's say we had something that was glass, then we would see that other curve on the inside, okay? We would see this curve here. But if I had a soup can, a soda can, I'm not gonna see that. If I had a glass or plastic cup, that's gonna be different. Once we can draw the cylinder like this, we can draw it laying on its side. We can draw it smaller, like a little can of cat food or dog food. Or we could even bend it like a macaroni noodle. Okay, so we've talked about the square, the triangle, and the rectangle. The one that we've not talked about is the circle. So with everything that we just did, it is a cartooning style, okay? We've not added any value. That's what we're going to study next time, not today. So if I have this circle and I want it to look 3D in this style, yeah, it's just a circle, okay? In order to make this look like a sphere, I'm going to have to add value, which is going to be our lightness and darkness, and that's our next lesson. So it's kind of like if I had a cartoon and I drew a circle here and drew a circle here, and I could just kind of follow it like the ball's bouncing. We can see that that looks flat. So all of this is a little bit of a cartooning style. To make it look more three-dimensional, we'll be studying value next time, okay? Practice these different forms. The more you practice it, the more comfortable you get. And our next time that we get together, we're going to be talking about value, learning how to use the 4 kinds of value, like hatching, cross-hatching, stippling, and blending, to make these look more realistic. So keep practicing, and I'll see you next time.